Aries 2024 Yearly Horoscope. Having eclipses in your sign is not for the weak. Good thing, Aries, you are the furthest thing from weak, and within 2024's astrology, you're being asked to step into a brand new chapter of your empowerment, of your strength, and of your confidence. Hi, my name is Lulu Lunar, and welcome to my cosmic corner of the internet where we discuss all things astrology. And today, all things Aries 2024 forecast, what is coming in for the Rams. Within this next trip around the sun is how you can take charge of these cosmic cycles in order to make your new chapter. Initiating this year, the most powerful one yet, this is part of my brand new series called The 12 Days of Cosmos, where I'm guiding every single sign through the major themes and transits within the year ahead and how they can co-create with astrology. Everything I do is all about not just telling you the astrological information, but letting you know how you can leverage it in order to level up, in order to grow, and in order to succeed. Spoiler alert, Aries, your 2024 has a sprinkle of all of those. So we will be talking about the codes of how to work with these cycles in order to enact that within your universe. Before we do, I just want to say that within that series, you will most certainly want to listen for your rising sign, your sun sign. Now, Aries, I know you guys do not like being told what to do, so you are so welcome to listen to your other placements if you would like. But the reason I particularly encourage rising in sun is because a lot of the techniques that I utilize in order to dilate this information is derived from houses or solar houses corresponding to your ascendant sign, and solar houses corresponding to your sun sign. Therefore, I recommend those. I do mention other transits in which your Mercury, your Venus, your Mars, your Moon may be applicable, but most certainly you'll want to listen for your rising and your sun. So let's get into your 2024 forecast, where there are new levels of vulnerability, new levels of empowerment, and new levels of abundance. So Aries, in telling the story of your 2024, we start by highlighting a defining transit of the year. This is essentially a transit that when you think back to 2024, in future years, you will think, oh, 2024, that was the year that the North Node was in Aries. Now, if I were to simplify this transit into two words, Aries, the two words I would choose are main character. Because when you have eclipses in your sign, you are the main character. Being the main character is great. You're the starring role. You can find your extra magnetic power within the year ahead. Your plot is accelerating quite a bit. You're figuring out a lot about yourself and you're understanding what it is that you want. You are also taking charge of your destiny. That is all well and good, but there are other responsibilities to being a main character, which means having certain, perhaps chaotic plot points unfolding and having to step into your courage by facing uncomfortable situations or having to take accountability over every aspect of your universe. Those could all be themes that you are feeling with the North Node transiting your sign Aries. When we consider North Node and Aries by houses or solar houses, this is going into your first house. The North Node is about gain, but the thing about North Node is that it's not Jupiter. It's not just like luck and abundance and expansion. It shakes things up. It accelerates the plot. It drives the plot forward. You may have found that this story has already been unfolding. North Node has been here since July 2023, and you got hints and clues around the new chapter, the new initiation that you were stepping into around your birthday in 2023. So when it comes to North Node, It shakes things up. It challenges us to step into our courage, and for you with it in the first house to step into your authenticity. Aries, we know that you are the first sign of the zodiac, so you are very straight up with who it is that you are. You do not fake the funk. You might be like, hey, I'm already showing up as my most authentic self. Yet the nodal cycle could challenge you in new ways to tap into untapped components of you. Because we all know the energy of Aries. The energy of Aries is self-sufficient. It is very independent. When you Aries want something, you go out and get it for yourself. You do not fake the funk for anyone. You are devoted to being fiercely and unapologetically yourself. And we love that for you, Aries. The point is, somewhere down the road, you could have internalized the feeling that strength means never showing your softness. Strength means having to always be independent, always be self-sufficient. Never let anyone see you sweat. Never let anyone see you cry. A lot of Aries are figuring out this year that your sensitivity can be such a strength. In fact, it is even more pronounced as a strength. A lot of you are softening this year, and you're finding that you're even more strong because of this softening. The sensation that you are allowing in your universe is allowing you to tap into this energy where you no longer have to be on guard, where you no longer have to fiercely protect yourself and preserve yourself. It is doing that so strongly that you are stepping into a timeline and an iteration of yourself where it is safe to be fully and authentically yourself. Of course, that is a component of who it is that you are, but I feel that you are also integrating this vulnerability. Where I see this within the cosmos, the North Node is not alone in our first house. It is gathered there with Chiron, and the two actually unite in March. With North Node and Chiron within the first house, you are learning about yourself, through learning about your healing, your insecurities, and your inadequacies, because you are taking the armor off. Aries, you're allowing yourself to be truly and genuinely seen, and not just in your strength, which we all know that you have, not just within the most beautiful parts of you that we also all know that you have, but you're also allowing yourself to be seen within your flaws, within your inadequacies, within your insecurities, and furthermore, you are taking these components of yourself off of the pedestal. You are no longer feeling like you have to hide so much or protect yourself so much. You are allowing yourself to be truly, authentically, and genuinely seen. Also because you are taking accountability of your story, of your journey, a lot of blessings are finding you, Aries. And it's when you take the mask off, or take the armor off, or allow yourself to understand that it's safe to be you. It is safe to be you, not just the strongest, most self-sufficient, most independent parts of you, but it's safe to be just you, to just be. You can be even more loved when you tap into your authenticity, because there's a certain energy, Aries, where the wounded part of you could have been steering the ship. The more you try to hide and suppress those parts of you that are in need of healing, the more you try to hide and cover those components up, the more that wounded, reactive part of you was able to take center stage. Within your universe, it's like the more you ignored the healing that you needed and ignored the vulnerable parts that existed within you, the more powerful they became. Things sometimes can grow and bloom within the shadows, Aries. And it's almost like you are softening into this new chapter, just embracing that as simply a part of who it is that you are. You are loving that component of who it is that you are, but also understanding this part of you does not need to be making decisions. Like the wounded child part of you does not need to be the one that's making decisions. Acting out within my relationship, the wounded child part of me does not need to be lashing out towards my friends when they try to help me. Like the wounded child part of me might just want the attention, the love, and nurturing it deserves without the need to be calling the shots within other arenas of my life. The more that you embrace that part of you, you are stepping into this period of growth where you are no longer allowing it to run or rule your life or your relationships. I highlight relationships because when you have North Node in your sign Aries, that means you have Self Node in your opposite sign, and this indicates relationships and partnerships. A lot of you are going through transformations within your connection, so I'm going to name a couple of manifestations. Aries, some of you could have gone through a breakup, and maybe that's why this Chiron story is coming out. You are giving yourself permission to heal not just that relationship, but also the parts of that relationship that could have really triggered you and made you feel like it's not safe to let people in. Right, reacting from that wounded part of ourselves where it's like, nope, I got hurt, I never want that to happen again, so I'm going to keep everybody at arm's length. That can be an energy that you are moving through. Perhaps where you are experiencing this, Chiron softening is around, allowing you to enter into a new relationship, softer, more vulnerable, and more able to deeply connect. Not every Aries will go through a breakup. Please do not fret, but some of you may. I want you to rest easy within the knowledge that if a certain connection departs your universe, especially around the eclipses, which we will get into later, that connection was not meant to be. If it happens around eclipses, it is out of your hands. They do not call it North Node of fate for nothing. Eclipses are fated portals, and when it comes to where eclipses are landing for you, there is this focus around ensuring that your connections are based on truth, authenticity, and vulnerability. If there are any connections within your universe that are fake, or just for appearances, or even rooted in behaviors such as codependency or people-pleasing, you may find the eclipses do prompt a series of events that do take those individuals out of your life. Trust the process where it comes to the universe eclipses. Trust that it is the time that it can give us things. It also takes things away. And a lot of times when we are in the eye of the storm, we are likely to ask ourselves, why did I like this connection? But you need to know when you have North Node in your sign, it is shaking things up for your benefit. We usually do not see that in the moment, but I guarantee when you step out of 2024, if there is a certain connection that does depart your life, it is setting you up for something better. You can rest easy when it comes to eclipses because, my love, that is when what is meant to be comes into our universe and what is not meant to be is eyed out. It is fated entrances and exits, and it's going to show up for you a lot around relationships. So if someone shows you who they are around an eclipse, that is the universe looking out for you, trying to reveal to you this person's true colors so that you can set yourself up for something better. And when it comes to eclipses with the North Node and South Node landing in the sector of your chart where it is landing, it is incredibly common that a lot of my clients will have a breakup. Following that, somebody way more aligned will come into their universe, like it really shakes things up for a purpose. You will see that connections that have outlived their expiration date will be taken from you. It is all for your benefit, and a lot of times connections that are so meant for you will be dropped right in like magic, more aligned, more integral with who it is that you are. It is that kind of softness or vulnerability that you are tapping into, Aries, with Chiron in the first house. But once again, not every Aries will be going through a breakup. If you're listening to this in a cold sweat like, hey, come on, I'm married, I don't want to go through a breakup, don't worry, that's not the story for everybody. For a lot of you, there's an emphasis around releasing or just keeping the peace within relationships. Again, you are on the growth path, and a lot of Aries are really taking charge of their healing this year. So if you are in a connection where it's like we don't talk about that, we just keep the peace, you are really initiating a new chapter within your relationship, where maybe the two of you are wanting to engage in talk therapy, or the two of you are really wanting to be more vulnerable, be more seen by the other person. When it comes to where the South Node is, it's transiting your opposite sign, which is Libra, which is all about things that are nice, things that are pretty. And again, it's nice to have things that are nice and pretty, but if it's at the expense of your integrity, it's too expensive. If you found that you have been resting in your laurels within your connection, this could be initiating a new cycle of really wanting to challenge one another and initiate a new level of healing, perhaps for the both of you. When it comes to South Node, where you can find this is a literal manifestation of what it is that your partner is moving through. Your partner could be moving through some grief or some loss or having to let go of something or even an identity crisis. Again, you are a very strong sign, Aries, so you may be asked to really be the strength within your connection. It is not strength in terms of pretending that you do not have emotions and that you have never experienced weaknesses before, but it's really leading your connection in this very loving, compassionate direction. With Chiron in your sign, the vulnerable way really and truly is holding space, and it can initiate a brand new level of authenticity within your connection. If you have been prioritizing yourself within this relationship, know that with North Node Aries, you will be taking charge of your needs, and that's what we will get into later, where this is manifesting for you. But for a lot of Aries, you're stepping into your worthiness this year in perhaps very novel ways, because things in the darkness tend to fester or bloom. With the Chiron energy, if you were denying that more sensitive part of you, you could have felt like it was your responsibility to be like, I don't need anything, I've got it, I can meet my own needs. But don't worry, Aries, you are an independent soul. No one is going to take that from you, but there's a lot of softening with Chiron. Also, with Chiron in the first house around, Aries is understanding, I do have needs and I'm worthy of these needs being met. You are moving through this period of transformation where you could be leaning on your partner in new ways that feel uncomfortable. You could be centering yourself within your relationship in new ways that are uncomfortable. You could be prioritizing your life outside of the relationship in new ways that, say it with me, could be uncomfortable. The theme I really want to highlight here is interdependence, because a lot of Aries are releasing codependence and people-pleasing within the relationship. Feeling like you are responsible for your partner's emotions and for their life and for meeting all of their needs, you have your own needs too. And with this spirit of interdependence, you will find yourself understanding, if I soften, and allow my partner to genuinely see me, they can show up for me in new ways, but ultimately, I can also meet my own needs. I don't have to take responsibility for all of their life as well. There can be this beautiful energy of growth within connections, but be super mindful of where the shadow side of Libra energy can be existent within your connection. We don't talk about that brush it under the rug codependence, taking on the problems, not letting them into what it is that you are moving through, fear of deep intimacy. Those can all be threads of what it is that you are feeling within your connection. For the Aries who are single, when eclipses land here, fate could be trying to find you, and by fate I mean a partner who can accelerate your growth quite a bit. It's just important that you do not make that person the focus. Obviously, we learn a lot about ourselves through the context of getting to know people, but you're just going to want to be mindful of where it is that you could backslide into old past patterns within relationships. If you are somebody who struggles with codependency or anything of that nature, or if you're somebody who struggles to open up, again, there can be a certain growth that shows up within connections, and it's not about that person. Some of you could be finding and meeting fated partners by North Node again, when it is in the first house, which is about figuring out what it is that you want. It's about healing your patterns, and that could echo into relationships. So yes, stay open to connection, but don't feel like Mr. or Mrs. Right is going to fix it. You have to kind of take charge and see these patterns for what they are, that they are for fate to be able to find the right partner who will continue to catalyze your growth, also to be able to walk that fine line around taking responsibility of your universe, because it is your life, while allowing people in as you see fit. If you resonate with that energy of not letting people in, not letting people help you, this could echo out in friendships, relationships, partnerships, anything of that nature. I just want to say that oftentimes your partners want to help you, and when you pretend that they don't need help, that you've got it all figured out, you deny the people nearest and dearest to you the opportunity to be able to support you. So keep in mind that you are stepping into a timeline where it is safe to receive, it is safe to be genuinely seen within all of your connections. So basically, this story of the North Node will be accelerated around eclipses. The eclipses for you are as follows. The first one is on March 25th. It is a lunar eclipse in Libra, and it lands at 5 degrees Libra, which means if you have any placements at 5 degrees Aries, this will be the one that is more strongly felt by you. Let's break down all of the pieces. Firstly, it's a lunar eclipse. This is a full moon, and the energy of full moon can bring emotional culminations or realizations. With Libra in the South Node, there can be a certain culmination of certain connections which you are recognizing that you have outgrown. Some of you are doing some healing work this year. We will get into who particularly will be feeling the Chiron energy the most, but for some of you there can be certain illuminations that you are taking charge. You are taking accountability of your healing, of where it is that you have been wounded in the past. There can be certain illuminations around where your connections are not able to hold that space for you, or where they are not able to grow with you. The lunar eclipse may be casting a spotlight on certain connections you have outgrown or grown beyond. Some Aries know that to grow means to outgrow, but for others of you, there just could be a certain illumination around the style of relating that you're ready to release. If some Aries feel like they are dating the same person over and over again, the lunar eclipse in Libra on the South Node can be an illumination of a pattern that you are ready to release. The next eclipse is on April 8th. It is a solar eclipse at 19 degrees. Aries is on the North Node, so again, if you have any Aries placements at 19 degrees, that will be one that is more strongly felt by you. This is a solar eclipse, which signifies a new chapter, a new start, and it's on the North Node, which signifies gain. Understanding that throughout the past year, the first solar eclipse we had was last year in March 2023. Aries, contemplate what was transpiring and evolving around that time. There can be a chapter that is playing out, and again, it's centering you as the main character. It's an eclipse in the first house, which is a sign of self-identity. And you stepping into this new chapter within your world, you are stepping into this initiation of the person that you want to be and the impact that you want to have. Some of you are conquering any sort of fears of visibility. Some of you are conquering any fears in general, and you're stepping into your most courageous embodied timeline. You're starting your chapter around caring less what other people have to say about it. You're just stepping into your role as the creator of your universe. You're taking accountability over the good things in your life. You're looking around thinking, hell yeah, I made this happen for myself. I did this. But you're also taking accountability over the things that you're not pleased with around you. You are thinking, this is a bad habit that I'm going to release. This is something that I'm healing. You're taking accountability for all of that, and that is stepping into your most powerful timeline. Aries, I want to tell you that next, on October 2nd, we will have a solar eclipse at 10 degrees Libra, which will oppose any Aries placement that you have at 10 degrees. And this is another new start. We know that with a solar eclipse wrapped up in an ending, you trust in what is revealed to you. Trust your instincts when it comes to connections, and just trust if there is something you are feeling called towards to let go of it. This is setting you up for a new start, whether it's a new connection, a new pattern of relating, a new positive cycle, or a new period of healing within your relationship. Trust in the power of renewal. And Aries, I want to let you know there is one other eclipse, but it's actually a harbinger for next year's story. Next year's main character, so it's less focused about you and your growth with your connections. But just to give you a heads up, it's on September 17th. It's a lunar eclipse in Pisces. We will talk about what that means for you within the other themes for the 2024 section. But what I want to highlight is that when you have North Node in the first house, your life is shaking up. This is the sector that has to do with self-identity. You could be trying new things as it relates to your aesthetics. You could be tapping into your personal style. You could be putting yourself out there in new ways. And you could be tapping into new components of your own potential. This is an important time to be open up. And furthermore, Aries, to be courageous, to try new things, to experiment with new ways of being, because do not forget, you are the main character. You are being challenged by the cosmos to give your audience members a show. Give them some action, give them some drama, give them some looks. You're being asked to really step into your most embodied, your most authentic timeline. In March, North Node and Aries will align with Chiron, so that's going to intensify those themes around stepping into your vulnerability. Seeing your vulnerability as simply part of who it is that you are, integrating your vulnerability, allowing yourself to be seen even within those raw parts. I want to let you know that the Chiron story will be the most activated for Aries souls who have placements between 15 degrees to 23 degrees. Aries, that means you will have a Chiron transit within the year ahead. What I like in Chiron transits for my clients is that it's like a scalpel because it can dig into some sensitive parts within us. It can be painful, and it's not just external circumstances that create this pain. It's how it reminds us of certain vulnerable parts of our story. There are certain circumstances that happen now that bring you back to that wounded child version of yourself, or bring you back to that insecure version of yourself, and it might not make sense to the outer world. People might just be like, I don't understand, I just did this, or I just did this, and they won't understand why you reacted in the way that you did, or why it hurt you so deeply. But it is because it pinched at something deeper. I want to let you know, Aries, that if you are having a Chiron transit this year, there might be stuff that surface, but for the purpose of it to be washed away, a scalpel digs into the deep, and it's a real ouch, but for the purpose of getting that abscess out, so you can start the healing process. Aries, you need to understand that if uncomfortable, spiky emotions do surface, they are surfacing to be released. For some of you, this healing could be showing up within your physical body. A lot of you are getting fit. I want to say some of you are looking fit. You're looking good. It's helping with your confidence. The more you're moving your body, some of you could be really taking charge of your healing. Maybe you're trying to finally figure out, why is your tummy always upset? Or why do you always have this particular symptom? You could be taking charge of your physical healing. Some of you could be healing your relationship to your body. You could be really wanting to treat yourself with love. You could be really wanting to take charge of your own physicality in order to step into being your most beautiful. You are most magnetic. You are most attractive, because that's the case oftentimes when there's Chiron here. Sometimes there can be certain parts of you that you've been wanting to keep hidden, but you, being the sign of authenticity, you know more than anyone else that we exist as the most beautiful version of ourselves when we are dressing up, doing our hair, doing our makeup, and generally grooming ourselves. However, you want to express yourself in the way that is most true to you. Some Aries are letting go of trying to look like the models in magazines, or look like the models in the Calvin Klein underwear ad. You're letting go of trying to look like them, and you're trying to look like you instead. You are becoming extra magnetic and attractive because of that. You are giving up the battle to be perfect, and you're just striving to be the most empowered, the most attractive, the most healthy version of you. With the energy of Chiron, it doesn't hurt any longer that you don't look like other people, because you're not trying to. You're giving up the battle, and some of you are taking charge of activities or of habits that help you feel the most confident and look the most beautiful. Next up, in telling the story of your year, Aries, we are going to look at you within the birth chart because you are ruled by Mars. When we look at Mars' journey, we can figure out more about your journey as you navigate the year ahead. And when we talk about Mars, it's less so about tracking every single sign that it enters and every single aspect that it makes, because then we would be there all night. I know, Aries, that you have things that you need to do. You have North Node in your sign after all. You have to take charge of your destiny, and all of that. So we're not going to be looking at every single aspect Mars makes. Still, I do want to share with you, just in case you're not familiar, that I have a weekly horoscope series where I break down what is happening every single week of astrology. So you can always stay tuned and make sure to just listen up to Mars aspects and transits that you will be feeling most intensely. Within this section, it's less about tracking everything Mars does because you have Magic Monday for that. Within the year 2024, your ruler Mars will start the year in Sagittarius and it will make its way all the way to Leo. For you, this indicates that your ruler will start the year within your 9th house, which is about travel, higher learning, and it will end the year with a twist. We will get into it within the 5th house, which has to do with children and creativity. And when it comes to Mars journey this year, there's a certain illumination around the courage to be seen. We can also see that echoed in multiple different ways within your astrology. And again, when we think of Aries, we're like, oh, they are so bold, they are so brave. And you are, absolutely. But you're allowing yourself to be seen, even within your flaws, even within your faults. And for a lot of you, just with Mercury retrograde within fire signs and Mars starting the year in your 9th and ending the year in your 5th, there is this contemplation and this desire to really build a life that is true to you. A life that looks like you, feels like you, where you feel safe to be yourself and to be seen within your authenticity. There can be a celestial focus around that. Now, Aries, I do want to share with you that you are completing and closing out a cycle comes springtime. And this is because your ruler has completed an entire revolution. Mars takes 2 years to essentially transit every single sign of the zodiac. And this May 30th, to be exact, Mars will re-enter your sign Aries. This cycle has been ongoing since May 2022. So there could have been a certain growth cycle that was alive within your universe, certain new experiences that you stepped into, certain new starts that you initiated. You are closing and completing that cycle, and the new one begins May 30th. I want to share with you the 2 months or so preceding May 30th, 2022, when Mars enters your sign, thus starting a new cycle because it goes from the 12th house to the 1st house. When your ruler is in the 12th house, you may find in the springtime you are feeling more drained. You are feeling more tired, you're feeling more private, you're feeling more introspective. And I want you to know, Aries, this is simply part of the cycle. This is a focus to close and complete what has been the ongoing within your universe as you prepare for the new start that is initiating within your world May 30th. You can lean into this as part of the cycle, and it would be an incredibly helpful time to contemplate what bad habits you want to release or anything that you want to release from the past 2 years. It's time to take stock of what it is that you've learned since May 2022 and seek to step into your most empowered, embodied timeline. I do want to share with you, Aries, that for the majority of the year, your ruler Mars is stationing direct, therefore, you are moving forward, you are initiating new chapters. The eclipses are shaking things up. You're stepping into your courage, you're stepping into your vulnerability, and things are aligning and moving quite quickly for you. We have a slight deviation from that pace when your ruler Mars stations retrograde. In December 2024, it stations retrograde in Leo, and it will re-enter Cancer as well in early 2025. What's important to highlight about retrogrades is that they flip the direction, so rather than being more concerned with the external world, it's time to be more concerned with the internal world. It's a time about being more passive rather than more active, and being more concerned about trying up the past rather than sprinting into the future, which is how I know that you guys typically like it. So at the end of the year, you could be in a more contemplative space, and particularly where it is transiting, you could be contemplating certain past hobbies, things that you used to do just for the sake of having fun. You can be contemplating how it is that you like to inspire joy and creativity within your universe. You could be reconnecting with the inner child version of yourself and how it is that you want to pull aspects of those into your experience. Like I said, you are not letting the wounded child part of yourself make the decisions and call the shots, but this is a time in which you could be contemplating, hey, I used to love coloring. Why don't I do that any longer? Some of you can be considering which habits have gotten out of control and if they are bringing good energy into your life or not. Some of you around next holiday season could be contemplating your dating life or intimacy life, can also be a focus. At this point, you could hear from flings and crushes from the past. This is part of South Node and Libra, as well as Mars being retrograde within your fifth. It's not about them. It's solely about you, in the same way that this year is all about you, Aries. What I mean by that is if you hear from a fling or if you hear from a crush from the past, it's not the universe saying, oh, this is your soulmate, you need to be with this person. No, it's rather that invitation to reflect upon what did you learn about this connection and how you're shaping into what it is that you like and what it is that you are passionate about by revisiting that experience. It is not about them, it is about you. Retrogrades are an invitation inwards. So if you hear from a fling or a relationship from the past, keep in mind it's not about them. Contemplate what within you needs healing or closure from that past experience. And then in early 2025, I will just put this in your awareness. I will do a deep dive video on that, but I do want to share that Mars will tread back into Cancer, which is your fourth house. So there also could be contemplations on generational cycles, family conflicts. All that can be a focus you are moving into in early January 2025. Aries, 2024 is a long time, and there are many transits that we will experience as a collective as the year continues. But I want to highlight a couple of other big picture themes that I see playing out for you. Firstly, let's talk about money, honey, because the year starts with Jupiter in Taurus, which for you is moving through your second house, and a lot of you can start to earn more within the first portion of this year. You could spend more within the first portion of the year too. It is always important to mind your impulses, and with Jupiter transiting here, it expands money two ways. You could feel like you might be making more money and bringing in more money, but that money is leaving more as well. I talked to a lot of my clients after Jupiter transited in the second house, and they doubled their income, but they also doubled their expenses. So it feels the same as it did prior to the transit because they got a new car, they got a new house, they raised their standard of living, but they had more expenses. You have to be so mindful of Jupiter in Taurus. It is a contemplation around what it is that we find personally valuable. There can be an energy with Jupiter and Taurus that will certainly allow you to enjoy the fruits of your labor, enjoy the extra resources that could be coming in, but make sure what it is that you want to be spending your money on what it is that you value. A lot of Aries are stepping into a health era or a fitness era or taking charge of your healing era. So with Jupiter and Taurus, you could invest in a gym if that's a reflection of something that you value. That's okay. Just make sure that you are not leaking out too much money on things that you do not truly value. It is important that you're giving your dollars a job, that you're investing some of your dollars, that you are saving some of your dollars, that you are investing in your health with some of your dollars, that you're investing in yourself with some of your dollars. Give your dollars a job, give them places to go, and just be super dialed into paying attention to the numbers, tracking where your money is going. With Jupiter transiting here, there can also be an expansion of your self-worth. And I see this threaded through your 2024 in many different ways. A lot of you are really stepping into your confidence this year. Aries and Jupiter in second house indicates this. And like I said, some of you are glowing up. You could be leveling up your possessions. It's not that you can't spend money, right? We came here to be human beings and to enjoy the experience, the sensual experiences of being a human being. Jupiter is in Taurus in the first portion of the year. And after all, Taurus is very inclined towards what it is that we taste, touch, see, and smell. So you definitely could be investing in purchasing or leveling up some possessions within the first portion of the year. Jupiter will be in Taurus from January 1st, 2024 to May 25th, 2024. And while it's there, contemplate ways that you can bring in money and more resources or manage resources in order to bring in more abundance and prosperity. Many of you Aries are really getting to the bag this year. You could get a raise. You could get a promotion. Some of you could be starting a brand new stream of income. And I see this more clearly with Jupiter and Uranus aligning in April 2024. The Jupiter conjunct with Uranus can bring unexpected lucky breaks financially. I want to let you know that abundance comes in many different forms. Like some Aries could have a light bulb moment of a new invention or a new idea that could make you a lot of money in April 2024. Some of you could be purchasing something that will make you a lot of money. Some of you could be investing in something that will make you a lot of money because the energy of Uranus is about things that are unexpected, erratic, and unpredictable. However, like Jupiter, Uranus can be something that makes you earn a lot of money. It could also be something that makes you spend a lot of money or unexpected expenses. It's important with that energy to expect the unexpected. But how I want you to lean into this energy, Aries, is to be open to genius new ideas. Be open to trying new streams of income. Again, I'm not a believer in get rich quick or that anything can really happen overnight. But what I want to say is that if you are a business owner or something has been kind of slow and steady financially, you could experience a random uptick in sales in April. Or you can have a new idea of how you can maximize income. Some of you could be leveraging a technology in order to bring in some money, whether it's artificial intelligence or whatever it is that you want to bring in order to maximize revenue. Some of you are starting a new income stream that might do quite well. It is important with these two planets. And Jupiter is the planet of growth and your honest plan of novelty. You have to be open to try some new things to bring in some dollars. Stay alert during this time. Again, avoid anything sketchy. Do your due diligence. This is not financial advice. All I'm saying is with Jupiter and Uranus, luck could find you, and oftentimes money finds us in many different ways. It might not come via a bag of cash on your doorstep. It could come to you in a genius idea that strikes you in the shower and that you need to take action on. Yes, this is a lucky break sort of transit, but it's in Taurus, so we have to ground it. We need to make this idea happen, but the idea that pops in your head around that time, Aries, could be the one that brings in some money. And you also could leverage this energy by getting a new job, putting out feelers for a job in which you make more money. This could be a time in which you get a raise, you could get a promotion, or you just get to the bag in some other way. More money is coming in, more possessions or more resources. Yes, this could indicate big random expenses coming in as well. So it is always wise with Jupiter and Taurus to save for a rainy day. Nonetheless, continue to hold the vision around big sums of unexpected money coming in and flowing into your experience. Then, on May 25th, Jupiter will leave Taurus, which is your second house, and enter Gemini, which is your third house. I want to let you know, Aries, that Jupiter does not particularly like being in Gemini. And so some of the blessings of Jupiter can feel a little muted in the second half of the year. With Jupiter and Gemini, there's going to be a lot of talking, and it's interesting because we see that when Jupiter is in Gemini, and it will actually settle in North Node, which is your first house. So there are certain conversations that you could be having that are clarifying who it is that you are. But it's important, Aries, to thine own self be true. Jupiter in Gemini, every time I tap into it, it just feels very loud. You could feel more surrounded by gossip. But the good news is you could feel more popular as well. People are definitely wanting to be your friend. You're stepping into your magnetism. But it's important to be mindful of who it is that you are surrounding yourself with, as well as not being too swayed by other people's opinions. It's such a delicate balance because I see that from Jupiter and Gemini. You could be learning about yourself through the context of interacting with others and learning new things. Some of you could pick up a new skill. You could be getting a new certification. You could be going to school or something of that nature, and it's helping you clarify and sharpen into focus the person that you want to be. Yet, it's important to not let gossip sway you or let what other people say about you knock you off your course. Like I said, you have North Node and Aries in the first house. You are being asked to step into your own authenticity outside of what other people necessarily have to say about it. So it feels like a delicate balance. In the latter half of the year, it is more about being open to data, being open to constructive criticism, and it's about how you can grow without allowing gossip to keep you hidden or to make you feel insecure. Stay aware that you are the main character. Definitely there are going to be some side characters who stir up their little drama, but this has nothing to do with you. While Jupiter transits in third house, some of you could be getting a new car in the latter half of the year. Some of you could be increasing communication with a neighbor. Some of you could be increasing communication with a sibling of some sort. This is also the house that has to do with social media, marketing, sales. So there could be a focus on that. Maybe there's a uptick sales within your business. Where Jupiter aligned with Uranus in April, and maybe in the latter half of the year, it's about how you can continue to invest in your marketing to bring more and more people to your business. Some of you could be starting a podcast. You could be writing more. With Jupiter and Gemini transiting here, you could be really chiseling your own eternal student. Just with this here in North Node. Aries, you're open to life, and that's such an exciting place to be. To be open to life, you're open to learn stuff, you're open to learn about yourself. You can learn about yourself through the archer. You can learn about yourself through playing the harp. Like there's just this energy where you're tapping into new skills within you. You might be more inclined to network or to communicate with other individuals around this time. Learning these new skills and communicating in new ways can be helping you clarify who it is that you are, especially with Jupiter in the North Node comes July. After that, in the fall time, October and November to be exact, Jupiter will also be exiled and Chiron. So I see that a lot of you are using your voice this year. You are asking yourself, what is it that I need? How can I ensure that my connections are on? Or who it is that I am and my authenticity? And what have you. Some of you are really stepping into your power, your voice. You are advocating for what it is that you want and what it is that you need from those around you. You are articulating your desires. That is what I want to say. And that could be something that's very healing, to allow yourself to be heard, to allow maybe the parts of you that you have felt sensitive about or that you have kept hidden to surface, and allowing yourself to communicate about them. Some of you could be journaling in the fall time or sharing some of the vulnerable parts of your story on a podcast or on a blog or on a YouTube channel of some sort. You are allowing yourself to no longer have shame over these components that at certain portions of the journey you had shame about. You are finding clarity through communicating about them. Again, it does not have to be public for everyone. It could be to a one-to-one connection or making sense of it within yourself, within your journey. Aries, you are more magnetic this year, and people always want screen time, right? They want to be a buddy up next to the main character. And what I want to say is that in June, and that's the time that Jupiter is in Gemini, it is again about the social butterfly form. You're learning, you're laughing, you're loving. With Jupiter trailing Pluto in June, Pluto will by this point have entered your 11th house. This is going to be a long-term story, Aries, so I don't want you to fret or worry or panic about the themes coming out this year. But I do want to say you are embarking upon this journey of transformation as it relates to your friendships as well as your hopes and dreams. Firstly, when it comes to Pluto, if it so happens this year that you have to go through any sort of friendship breakup, it is likely because of Pluto's influence. Pluto is the energy of rebirth. It's the energy of transformation. And some of you can find that your friendships are undergoing some sort of transformation. Or you can also find that there are other people within your universe who are getting obsessed with you. The Pluto energy can bring out extremes within people. And you're just going to want to be mindful, to be open to, yet mindful of new people or new friends this year. Surely with the Chiron energy, you are more open, you are more soft, and you are more vulnerable. But with the energy of Pluto, you also have to be mindful of secret hater energies, or people who are trying to be competitive with you, or who are kind of jealous of you, or who could even, with Pluto, Jupiter, and Gemini, talk out of both sides of their mouths, tell you something while they're hitting you with some weird energy. So just trust your instincts, Aries. Now, for example, if you happen to be on social media, this could be a very powerful time to interact with an audience who's like low-key kind of obsessed with you. Not in a scary way, I promise. But there just seems to be this energy where you're communicating honestly and it's drawing in people who are all about you. And that is because you are tapping into your magnetism and people are drawn to you like a moth to flame. So if you're an Aries content creator, this could be a time that you are essentially attracting an audience, a following. However, Jupiter does have a little bit of bad news comes August and December when it squares off with Saturn. So let me tell you Saturn's journey within the year ahead, and then we will talk about the square. Throughout the entirety of the year, Saturn will be transiting Pisces, which for you is your 12th house. So there is this focus around closing out cycles and releasing bad habits. That lunar eclipse, the one that I did not talk about, the one that's not in your axis. The lunar eclipse in Pisces on September 17th, 2024, is also eliminating this need within your chart and within your life to close out certain bad habits and toxic cycles. Some of you are getting sober this year, straight up. Some of you are getting real about self-sabotaging behavior. Some of you are getting real about certain things that you have done to destroy yourself, whether it's destroy your physical body or destroy your mind. There's a real emphasis on mental health this year. Aries, there's a real emphasis on mental health this year. Ensure that you are taking care of yourself when it comes to Chiron energy. Sometimes sensitive topics can emerge. With Saturn in the 12th house, you're being asked to make peace with your demons. You're being asked to be chill with the skeletons in your closet. It's not easy work, but it is what you are being asked to do. The reason I specify mental health is because Saturn and Pisces are in the 12th, and it will square off with Jupiter and Gemini, which are in the 3rd house. This has to do with our mind. 12th house has to do with our subconscious mind, and so these are the two houses that have to do with mental health, and we have this kind of tension and tense square between the two. This could be a time in which your mind feels so loud that there can be extra temptation to run from it, to numb it, whether you do it through substances or anything else that's destructive. There can be an energy around this that is blocking your own growth or blocking your own learning because you're scared to look dumb, or blocking your own growth because you are your own biggest hater. There could be just an energy where you're being extra hard on yourself. I would definitely advise going into this period with resources around you, and this will look different for every single Aries. Please know that not every message I say is for you. So please do not panic if none of what I say is relevant to you. But I would advise ensuring that you are surrounded by therapy, if therapy is something that has helped you in the past. Anything of that nature that has helped you, even spiritual modalities, meditation, if that has helped you within the past, there can be a deep need to take care of yourself and use that help. Your mind can feel quite busy, and your inner landscape can feel quite blocked, quite harsh. And you can even be blocking yourself from growth because you are being so hard on yourself. So I just want to let you know about this aligning in August and December. Now we come to the final theme. I want you to get acquainted with Aries, and that is Pluto's journey. Pluto starts the year in Capricorn, and it will re-enter Aquarius. It first dabbled into Aquarius in March 2023, then again on January 20th, 2024. Where it will stay until September 1st, 2024, at which point it will re-enter Capricorn. It stays there for the full time, and it re-enters Aquarius for good this time, for the next 2 decades or so, in November 2024. So let's talk about the journey that is wrapping up and the journey that is initiating. When Pluto transits in Capricorn, it is wrapping up a journey that has been underway since 2008. This has been a significant one for you, Aries, because since 2008, you at some portion of the journey have experienced a Pluto square. Pluto transits are more rare, and I want to firstly congratulate you for the transformation that has been underway since 2008, because Pluto transits are not for the faint of heart. Good thing is you are not faint of heart, Aries. This transformation was around career. Some of you could have started a certain career path in 2008, and you are leaving this transit in a total different path. Your path did not move in the direction you thought it would. You might have been in a totally different industry in 2008, and whether you decided to leave this industry in your own volition or that door was slammed for you, you had to transform your career in some way since 2008, even if you were still in 8th grade or whatever at that time. You may have found that your career ambitions have transformed significantly. Sometimes Pluto's energy is like, yay, I'm evolving, I'm stepping into my power, and that's why I'm evolving past this dream that I had. Sometimes it's like, no, my dream was ripped from me, it was clawed from my fingers, and I had to start over in a new industry. I had to step into my power. Some of you, Aries, could have stepped into an industry where you did step into your power. You could have built a business since 2008. You could have become a leader in some way at that time. You could have had to be able to pivot to step into your power regardless of what other people had to say about it. Because Pluto can be a very polarizing influence. Some of you have had to get more comfortable being a manager, being a leader, and tapping into your fearlessness within that arena. Now, with this transit wrapping up, I want to share with you that if you have any Aries placements at 29 degrees, you will experience your final Pluto square this year. What does this mean? This means that you could be asked to transform this year. This story has been underway. You experienced this transit last year as well, so it could be ongoing. Yet, Pluto energy can sometimes make us process grief. Again, nothing scary. I'm not saying anyone's going to lose anyone, but sometimes there can be a grief of who it is that we used to be. Or perhaps with Pluto in the 10th, the career path that we used to have is missing. The nurse version of ourselves is missing, a certain iteration of ourselves, and having to grieve that side to ourselves. You could have had certain power struggles with authority figures. Areas where you had to butt up and fight for your own autonomy, for your own sovereignty around authority figures. It bears something of that nature. You could have really had to rebrand. You could have had to shift gears, meaning you really had to tap into your resilience. You had to tap into your power. So when we leave Pluto transits, we leave a much different version of ourselves than what we started that transit as. There can be an energy around having to deal with intensity loss, grief, and transformation, all really challenging experiences that made us dig deep in order to rebuild ourselves, in order to keep going. I hope you take some time and space this year, Aries, to really commemorate the strength that you had to carry in order to keep going, in order to keep fighting, in order to keep showing up. That is the thing about Pluto. It reminds us that there are so many things in life that can be taken from us. We can lose jobs and businesses and career paths and what have you. But nobody can take the strength from you that Pluto transits impart. Nobody can take the version of yourself that you had to become in order to keep going. No one can take the strength that you had to chisel in order to come face to face with sometimes the darkest underbelly of the human experience and keep going. No one can take that from you, Aries. I hope now that you are wrapping up this more intense transit and taking some time and space to commemorate how far you have come since 2008. With Pluto entering 11th house, Pluto in Aquarius may signal a major transformation concerning either your hopes and dreams for the future or for your community. Some of you are stepping into a leadership role. You are being asked to communicate with Jupiter and Gemini in the 3rd house and Pluto in the 11th house. You're being asked to accumulate a following. What I want to say is that with great power comes great responsibility, and you do have to be responsible of the people that you might be leading or the messages that you might be sharing. It is very important to be intentional with that, with Pluto in your 11th house. Aries, I would love to take your rapid fire where every single outer planet is transiting within your chart to tune you into the big picture themes and how they are playing out within your universe. The first portion of the year, Jupiter and Taurus will be expanding your 2nd house of money and resources, which can lead to some exciting new purchases, new income streams, and expanded income streams. Then, on May 25th, Jupiter will enter Gemini, which can create a desire to learn a new skill. You could be sharing more, writing more, or communicating more. Saturn will be in Pisces throughout the duration of the year, which for you will be in your 12th house. And it's a cosmic call to release bad habits, to release any self-sabotaging mechanisms that exist within you, to work through any fear of solitude that you may have. Chiron is in Aries, which is your 1st house, which is asking for radical authenticity around where it is that you are healing, what it is that you are working through. That does not make you weak, it makes you even stronger to integrate, embody, and love those raw parts of yourself. Uranus is in Taurus throughout the entirety of the year, which can lead to new, inventive, genius money-making ideas. It can lead to changes within your financial status. Neptune will be in Pisces within the 12th house, a cosmic cue to not escape from life. For some, to dial more into your intuition, your prophetic dreams, anything of that nature. Pluto will dabble in between your 10th and 11th house. When Pluto's in Capricorn, it will be wrapping up a story that's been ongoing since 2008. That is about transforming within the public eye, transforming your reputation, or having to deal with extremes concerning your reputation as well. Then, when Pluto enters Aquarius, which is your 11th house, there can be a call around wanting to step into your power, not just for yourself, but for all of humanity. Stepping into your leadership as well as experiencing certain transformations around your community. North Node will be in Aries throughout the entirety of the year, indicating that things can be shifting, accelerating, and evolving for you, Aries. Again, these transits are for you to be open to change, be open to gain, and be open to exploring more about yourself. With South Node, Libra, and 7th house, there is releasing in connections that are rooted in the wrong reasons, as well as releasing any toxic patterns within your relationships and your one-to-one connections. Finally, I have crafted for you to support you within the year 2024 some celestial soul-centered affirmations. If you feel inspired to utilize them, I wrote those based on the transits that you will be experiencing within the year ahead. Those soul-centered celestial affirmations are as follows. It is safe to be me. My sensitivity makes me strong. I'm open to unexpected deposits of money within my bank account. I'm open to novel genius ideas that can lead to more abundance and prosperity. My connections see, honor, and celebrate who I authentically am. It is safe for me to be seen. I prioritize my healing. My physical body is my vessel. I focus upon being the most beautiful, the most attractive, and the most healthy version of myself. I release my codependent tendencies that exist within my universe. I'm intentional about and mindful of my relationships. I focus upon my connections that are interdependent. It is safe for me to be honest about where I need support. I release bad habits. I'm open to share my truth. I contemplate new ways through which I can communicate about what is important to me. I'm open to learn. I channel my eternal student mindset. I step into my leadership. I step into my power. It feels so good to be me. I love being me. I love chiseling the most authentic version of myself. I am unapologetic with my desires. It is safe to center myself within my own experience. I seek clarity and honesty in every facet of my universe. I'm open to the changes that bring me closer to the human that I am meant to be. I'm proactive about getting my needs met and bringing my dreams to reality. And finally, if it is to be, it is up to me. I will leave you there, Aries. I'm wishing you the most empowering, the most actualized, the most authentic year ahead possible. I know having eclipses in the North Node in your sign is not calming, but what I can say is that it's going to be a year of growth, and you will leave this year feeling more dialed in with the person that you are meant to be and the unapologetic radiant light that you are here to exude. I can't wait to see it. It has been such a pleasure to be able to relay your yearly horoscope to you, Aries. I've had so much fun within the 12 days of the Cosmos series. I just want to thank you all for joining me on this journey. Until we meet again, Aries, drink lots of water and stay cosmic.